we are trained to not ask for money. Anybody can be an investor, and also anybody can be a credit lender. Everybody thinks you have to have a crazy money. That is a tool, not your enemy. Which, again, I want people to understand that banks are also OPM because they use your money to go lend to someone else. So once you switch that mindset, because a lot of people, especially older generation and our generation, we were teached, but all the rich people get rich by using it.
Drocelle Benezet
is the award-winning capital strategist, franchise analyst, investor, and founder of Budget Mastermind,
who came from the UK to the United States with a mission to reduce poverty by creating jobs.
After winning a major legal case against a fraudulent franchise system, her journey now fuels a powerful mission to teach real financial education.
Especially how to use other people's money to help entrepreneurs rebuild, rise, and reclaim their financial destiny.
You have to build a business credit. That it helps because the business credit does not show on your personal credit. Okay, this is get a 500,000 in the business credit.
So you did mention about your 2 surgeries. What was it about?
Moved to the States from the UK to make millions like everybody else, living the American dream. I went to hospital thinking I had just appendicitis. I had just pain from nowhere. Then the doctor said, no, you have so many tumor, we have to operate ASAP, otherwise you may not make it. So my life collapses at the time. I looked at my bank account and all the money was gone. So
where was it?
the company can't invest pretty much the money. Now I was told to go pick up my stuff like a thief. Case it took 2 years. And the pay almost more 200,000 with a lawyer. So I started using other people's money to bounce back. You can start up a business, but it's not easy to do a startup. I advise it's better to go look existing businesses. There is plenty. Once you start looking, you'll be surprised.
Can everybody do this?
It's a money game. That's the rich people game. First step is to switch that debt is not my enemy. Debt is a tool to help me build wealth. So as soon as you decide that you have shifted that mind, secondly is to know what is a good debt and a bad debt. If you buy the property, you need to make sure there is equity in the house. That's a good debt. Equity means when you buy house, the value increase. So if the value increase, you bought it 200 in 1 year, or the house was sold next door. That's very important to know. The house was sold next door, it was a 300 or 350 or 400. That's a deal. But if the house was sold next to it is 250, it's not a deal. Unless you want to hold that property for 10 years. But if it's 200, 250 or 180 or lower, that means it's going to take you a while to leverage the equity.
Financial trauma. What does it take to break this cycle in life?
First step is...
Okay, I want you to walk me through what is OPM. Like for someone who doesn't know OPM, who just heard OPM for the first time, as a founder, financial specialist, analyst, how do you define OPM?
So OPM is other people's money. To make it simple, sometimes people think investors or all of that, but that's what it is OPM. So everybody, if you think about the bank is using other people's money. If you think about when somebody says a venture capitalist, they're using other people's money. So it's pretty much using other people's money to leverage the money to do your deals, either buying a business or buying property, a house,
Okay.
or business acquisitions.
So you talk about the moment where you realized OPM it was not just for the rich people, because people think, okay, if I want to leverage, I need to take credit from the bank. That's rich people's jobs or things to do. Talk us to the moment where you were at the rock bottom, where you feel, okay, I need to start figuring out things. I need to start figuring out how I can use OPM.
So I hit the rock bottom. I have shared my story publicly. I'm started sharing because I know how hard it was for me. So I hit the rock bottom when I ended up with $9 in my bank account, and that's what opened my eyes. So in the midst of trying to figure out how I bounced back, that's how I figured out about I've now they don't know PA. And I build myself from using OPM by more than like in properties, and I also use that by in businesses acquisitions. So that's when I realized like, oh my God, this is not just about. So sometimes you hear about investor, you think it's very complicated. I was also an investor myself by using my own cash.
Yes.
So but I realized that OPM can help you accelerate quickly.
Okay. So, so many parents, I get this question every time for some of the founders who are in my corner. They feel like, especially when we don't come from money, that you feel like you are failing your kids. You feel like there's things your kids will never achieve because you're not financially free. So, uh, what are the things you think parents or people in general should start doing to better prepare themselves and to make that first emotional shift to make them stop feeling like they are failing in life?
I think what is important to focus by feeling is not what you don't have, it's what you can build. So if you shift your mind on building, that's why one of my companies called Rebuild. If you focus on build, you will realize that like, there is so much out there. There's so much opportunity. So the shift of the mindset, that's the first step. And the second is stop comparing yourself with others. Just work on your own pace. So once you work on your pace, you realize like there is opportunity, but you're not competing. Yeah. But also it is once you open to the mind shift, you realize there is a lot of opportunity like a 0% business credit that I can help you to rebuild yourself. Just you have to be careful how you leverage those. And then make sure sometimes there's a lot of banks offer 0% credit score, 0% credit, sorry, credit cards, and that you can use to rebuild yourself or sell as a finance. You can easily buy a business on a zero
Okay.
down payment.
So you've worked in UK, in the United States. Can everybody do this? Can you use OPM everywhere in Africa, in UK, in Europe, wherever?
Yes, you can. Yes, of course, there's a different type of rules and the regulation and the limitation you have to follow. It is more common in the US than people think.
Yeah.
But in the UK, it's also because everybody who say I'm an investor, they're using OPM. The bank is using OPM. But individual, why this is why I'm more passionate about waking up individual is to realize that this is how the 1% rules work to be rich or the rich people. Individuals, if you think about it, you shift your mind, you can easily go talk to 5 people. They invest in you. And you stand out with losing that money rather than waiting the bank declined you and then you get the price. Or there is different options. You can raise the capital in any country. It doesn't matter even if any country allowed to raise a capital. You may not be able to quickly buy a house, maybe, but you can raise the capital to start growing your own assets. And then after that, leverage the equity in the assets to go build yourself.
You did mention financial trauma. I remember when I was a kid, we there's been those moments where you feel like, okay, uh, for some of us who are so ambitious, some of us don't come from a lot of money, so we get this tendency of, I need to be financial free. I need to find a way that I can, change the history of my family. So when you mention financial trauma, sometimes you get these flashbacks from when you was a kid and you can't afford this, or maybe your mom tells you, oh, we can't afford these new shoes, we can't afford because of the bills, right? What does it take to break this cycle in life for some people who are not financial free? Because people think we can just do it, but sometimes it takes some level of mindset shift. What does it take for somebody to think they can actually do this?
I think the first mind shift is to acknowledge that there is an issue, okay? Before you even, so sometimes avoiding it is not going to resolve the issue. So it's better to acknowledge it. So once you acknowledge it, start planning ahead. Start planning ahead, budget it the small amount you have, and also look at the opportunity out there. Because the trauma, sometimes it is easy to get knocked down, and then it's hard to get up. That's one the reason I'm passionate because I was knocked down. and then I know how hard it is. But anybody can. But if I can bounce back from a $9, anyone else. And from the trauma recovery, I think of no one out there. So then I think what is more important is to acknowledge it. The second step, learn the tools how to manage your money. And the third step, learn the tools how to leverage other people's money.
So when you say like tools, which are the examples for the people who have no idea what you're even talking about? Like which tools does someone use, or which is the roadmap, like step by step, like which steps do you take to actually do this? Look, let's say I have nothing right now. Maybe I have some skills, but how can I utilize that to maybe get other people's money to start my own thing?
So first of all, you have to identify opportunity, because to use other people's money, you don't want to just take other people's money to go buy expensive cars or to go buy expensive house. So you have to think. It goes back to what I mentioned before, building. So you have to think, what can I build, and then it will be beneficial for both sides. Because the other people's money, they also want to grow their money. So nobody's gonna give you their money just for free. And that's the mind shifters also we need to help people overcome. You have to have that. So once you have the mindset shift, then you move to look into opportunity out there. What is the opportunity can I leverage using someone else's money? If you look at business, you can either buy using asking a business to pay them monthly, because there's a lot out there. You look away to get into property or real estate. So I'm trying to share for both sides. Okay, so property and real estate, and that it's simple. It's just a lot of people don't know. Once you have real estate, because it's an asset, there is a lot of lenders out there. You can leverage that are not the bank. Okay, and you don't need a credit score. You don't need a credit score. You don't need anything. What they need is the address and the comparable. That's it. And you can also look, there is a different, you can also look at to start raising capital for your project. You can raise a capital, you can start a project, raise a capital from family members or good friends. As long as you, one of the many things for OPM, if you want to be successful in this industry, is to be very honest, and then use other people's money, but not be selfish. Also pay them on time, and then also give them the return they deserve, because after all, you cannot make it without using their money.
Yeah, we did have a conversation yesterday where we were telling me how some people like they think, okay, if I have to invest money and maybe I build my own house and maybe I use, let's say, $200,000, and instead you should maybe put that 200,000 into 5 properties, maybe. I don't know how. If I had like 200,000 and I wanted to make more money from it instead of just putting it in one basket, like which are the ways can I do that?
Yes, so goes back to the fake generation wealth that was sold to many people and many families. That when individuals, those or families, we have to save and save, and then buy house cash or put as much as money to the house, and for the rest of their lives, we work again to save again. So, but if you have more money, personally, if you have more money, I think it's important you spread that money into different assets. It doesn't have to be real estate. You can buy properties or you can buy businesses. Okay, but the more important is think about it. If you have 1,000 cash flow on one property, and then that's where you put all your savings. It's going to take you so long to save that 1,000 cash flow to make another 200,000. But you have a 200,000. You go to other people's money. You go to either to fund. There's a lot of fund. It's just no out there. But once you started founding it, you realize like there is everything. Yes. You go to fund or you go to individuals. If you have a deal, they will pay you. They will give you the money. You go to individuals and then you put them only at least 30% or 15%. The good things different that to the bank, the fund or the private lenders do not require too much bureaucracy, do not require documentation, credit score, all of that. They only need to see the address because the address is the most important. What they want to know is if you don't pay them back, is that house has the value that they can take it back. So that's the key. So if you do that model for 3 houses, 4 houses, this house is worth 400,000 or 200,000. You put 30K. You put 30K in the second house. You put 30K in another house or 40K. Depends, each house is different. The cash flow you're making on one house and you make on the second house, you make on the third house, it increase your monthly revenues. But a lot of people do not see it that way. Rather than waiting for that 1,000, so you do that house, you put a tenant pay you on high. They pay for the mortgage or the lender, private lenders. And you move 3, 4, and those houses are also growing equities. So as more they grow equities, it was 400 in 1 year, in 2 years. 8, 7, 300. But
It depends.
it depends, yeah. But there is 100 extra. But that 100 extra, if it's in the 4 house, that's 400,000. But that 100 extra, if it's in the one house, you only have 100 equity growth. Yeah.
So basically, many people don't think about the ROI in
Yeah.
terms of how much, because I can get it. If I'm going to make my money back in 10 years and there is another way you can make my money back in 1 year, many people just think, okay, if it's my own house, I'm safe. It's one house.
Yeah.
It's just big. But they don't think about the speed of return. Like, because that's also important.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about it?
Yes, because the spirit of return, it gives you the mental freedom.
Okay.
And also the freedom to do other things. Because sometimes, if we go back to our parents or the previous generation, what is it again, the Gen Z or something. So, well, if you go back to the older generation, we were all trained that you work hard, you pay a house, and then once you're able to afford another house, that's how you build a generation wealth. That's why it's the we were sold a fake generation wealth. But by the time you're old, you buy that house, it takes you forever to save for another house. So by the time you're ready to enjoy your house, you're too old to travel, you're too old to do anything. But if you do it quick, and then you keep moving the money, because OPM is about moving the money and then make a quick turn. Yes, of course, it's not a get rich quick scheme. So we have to really be clear about that. There is work need to be done, and then you have to you have to be willing to make your hands dirty. But if you make 100K in 1 month, in 1 year, it's better than waiting 5, 10 years to make 200K. Because that 100K, you can take it, go buy a laundromat, go buy a car wash, go buy something to generate more cash flow, and then you still have more money.
All right. So I do, because I've been doing business for half a decade right now. It's been 6 years. And what I've realized that I have created programs, I've bought courses. People say, okay, they know what they're doing. We do have a lot of financial gurus out there who preach what they don't live by, and they feel like, okay, they know all of the things. But when you actually go into their program, you feel like, okay, this is a scam. There's no practical ways of achieving this. For the people who have been, because when you were doing sales, there are 3 key things in sales that apply to all people. There's a relationship, how for devices, and how to make money. And when it comes to the conversation of making money, people get scammed because they're so desperate. So what are the three things you think someone should look for anytime they want to start OPM? Like, what are the things they should really avoid before they take down the first step to, what are the things they have to be clear about?
So I think when it comes to opium, I think the ones who mainly have to be careful is the ones who giving money. Okay, so that's a first step than the ones that are asking. But the ones who are asking, which means the investor. So there is a private lender, there is funds, but the one who are asking, they have to be careful because of the desperation, not to start jumping from one course to another. And also you have to see, to look people, had they done, you need to look at the stats. Had they done really what they are talking about? Because we have a lot of, I have been, you know well, that I have been so resistant to go online because I don't want to associate myself with the gurus out there. And then, so to be honest, I do this for giving back because I was saved. I almost died. So I feel like, okay, it's time to share what I think can help people. But the big thing, the majority of people who want to dive into this industry, it's not. It's to do their due diligence. That's a big thing. Also find a deal that is actually make sense. Because if you find a deal that do not, the number do not make sense, you may also lose money. So you have to make sure if it's a house, if it's a business, it's just not just that because you're getting a free money from somebody, because that's not free. You're gonna pay that money back.
Yeah.
So I think it's more due diligence the biggest, and also stop following million people that are, because there is people out there. There is a lot of noise,
Yes.
and it choose your noise. That's all I can say. Yeah.
Yeah. For the people you help maybe in budget mastermind or review the capital, some of the people you have helped in your life through OPM, using OPM, teaching them, what are the things when people say they are tired of working hard, when you know they can use the money to work for them, what do you have to say for them? Like, what are the things you teach them for them to be able to apply this?
So yes, I think that goes back. Like when I see the older generation or even our generation. I mean, I'm older than Aroki, but even our generation, it's you feel like you have to hustle to make money. But we live in a different generation right now. We live in a different era. You have to work smarter than harder. It means you need to see what can I leverage, and then that leverage can give me a quick return. Well, again, I need to be careful. If we say quick return, it does not mean fast get quick rich. It means you actually put in some work. And even if it's a mentoring, but you put it in some work, it's not you're gonna be multi-millionaire. But what even if you leverage 100,000, if 10,000, you make it 10,000 in then 2 months. That's money you are making and using other people's money. So I think what is important is to think, how can I find the opportunities that I can leverage and then also build wealth in a better way, quicker, rather than, because if you think there is what we call minimum wage activities. If you spend hours driving Ubers, doing, and yes, that's okay. You can, to build capital. But if you look at how many times you spend in that time, if you can maybe do 6 hours in the Uber and the 4 hours use it to build, and then as you build, or how can I leverage, it helps you to grow. So what I want is people to have that abundance mindset rather than the mindset that people feel like you have to work forever to survive. Yeah.
Take us through why you say, okay, people can join, because I checked your bootcamp website and it was like $9, and I was like, okay, this is the most professional person, financial analyst that I know in this space, better than even these multimillionaires who are going around charging people 20,000, 50,000, 100,000 for a program which never cease to give results to people who join them. Like, for you, what does $9 mean to you? for how much you offer to people?
So $9, it means a lot. It's more personal because it's connected to my story. As I mentioned, I was only left to $9 after 2 surgeries. So I felt, and then I was able to bounce back. Then I felt that to whom much is given, much expected. And so I was able to bounce back. And so this is my way of giving back, to be honest. I'm making money. So the $9 is more, but is more to bring the knowledge to the people. And also the price is there because people don't value sometimes if you don't put a price on it, because I'm sure you've been there when you to available to free,
Yeah.
and people don't value that's actually more important knowledge they are receiving. And then we do offer a refund. If you're not happy, you can have your $9 back. Yeah. So it's just the commitment. So we do want the people to commit and understand that this is the knowledge that I'm not charge 10,000, 20,000. Yes, knowledge, but I do think knowledge should be affordable. Knowledge should be accessible. It should be affordable. Yes, implementation, it should be charged if it's holding your hand.
Yes.
24/7 or 7 hours or mentorship. But it also should be fair charge. You have to make sure that person actually you deliver. And I'm talking about people like us. So we have to make sure that we deliver as well. So it's not just on one side. So I think that's where a lot of people has been burned out. And that takes me to one thing, that this is not a boot camp. This is an accelerator program. Yeah, because a boot camp, there's so much noise out there, and they call boot camp. And after people come to me crying. So I'm trying to figure out what is the way we can help people. Yeah. And then actually give the actual results, but still being accessible to the people. So you can take $9. You don't have to sign up of anything. You can just do one $9 and then you go implement
Yes.
what you want.
So you did mention about your 2 surgeries. What was it about?
So I had a tumor.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons why I'm not passionate about my company. It's called Rebuild Life Capital. So I'm trying to create something that I actually give the results based on what I've been through. So I busy working, moved to the States from the UK to make millions like everybody else to live the American dream. There are 3 months in, I went to hospital thinking I had a tumor. No, I thought thinking I had just appendicitis. I had just pain from nowhere. Then the doctor say no, you have so many tumor. We have to operate ASAP. Otherwise, you may not make it. So my life collapses at the time. Yes. So and then I called the company. So I was an investor. So that's also I've been in this district for a while, but I was not an OPM investor. I was more my own cash investor. Call the company that I invested in, and say, hey, I just found out that I may not make it. If I make it, I need you guys to fulfill the obligation of the contracts, because we're buying contracts and then they're supposed to provide the agreement we signed. And then that told even if I make it, of course, they gotta be crazy bills, medical, because this is like unexpected surgery, and then everybody knows medical expenses in America, and then I did not have health insurance because I was still British, traveling back and forth.
Yes.
So I ended up having to have a surgery, and then the surgeon gonna operate me, so they had to get a surgeon from out a different country. Canada. She was Canadian. So you can imagine how much expensive that was. So then when I came out, after, of course, takes a while to bounce back after I got my mental health back. And I was on crutches, on the wheelchair. I looked at my bank account and all the money was gone. So I had no money left in my bank account except
Where was it?
the company can't invest pretty much the money. because it was kind of like an embezzlement. Was they framed? It's a public record case, so anybody who knows my name can Google me. So and then the company, the company wiped. It was a franchise, and then also. I was a franchise analyst, so I used to help run a franchise. So I ended up having to go through the court process. It took me 2 years. The company refused to pay. They're supposed to pay because as a franchise, when buying a franchise, you're supposed to be making money monthly. I wasn't making any money, so likely. So that's when I went into OPM. So in the OPM, that's when OPM was built. To me, it was like, oh my goodness, this is the only way to survive. So I started using other people's money to bounce back.
Right.
And that's why it's a personal matter. So that's why I told myself it's been a long journey. This was 2020.
Yeah.
But I been resistant because I don't like public appearance. But that was one of my commitment to God that if I overcome, I'm gonna share with other people to overcome, because sometimes this is when you knock down to think you can never overcome it. So if I can overcome from a surgery, a tumor, when I was told that I cannot make it, I may not make it, and then have a $9 from my bank account left. All my stuff left me, and then I was told the ones left, I had to figure out how to pay them.
Yeah.
And but by God's grace, I did. So that's why I'm here to give back.
That's pretty tough
Yeah.
to wake up from 2 surgeries, expensive ones. You haven't recovered yet, and you check your bank account, you only have $9. Take us through that moment. How was it? Like, how did you bounce back? Where did you even start from?
Yeah, it was tough. It was really tough. I came out on wheelchair and even crutches. I had the rook to my bank account. I'm like, what just happened? So my life, I was this investor being recruited to come to the US to be a leader, to make a crazy money American dream. And then suddenly my life is shifted. So, but I am always somebody who, even if I have no money, I have the will behind it. I just went to the company, I looked them on my crutches. I'm like, you will see me. I had no money to sue them. I had nothing. But I had faith. I think that's what I can say. I had faith that no matter what, I'm gonna overcome. This. Some reason there was a false, but it was tough, and then also the company kind of framed me that I don't pay staff. So even I was told to go pick up my stuff like a thief, to go pick up my item, my product, because we had, this is a franchise. To go to the building, pick up everything as if I was a thief. So I had to regroup myself, of course, because of the challenge mentally, physically. At the time, I was kind of casualties, and then I had to figure out. I had to regroup myself for like a week or two to figure out how the hell am I gonna come out of this. So, but luckily, something started coming up. Someone told me about PM, and then it started coming on my feeds. I said, like, oh my God, I need to look into this OPM. So that's one of the reasons I'm also passionate about OPM, because I realized like you can be there, and then in the next day, life can switch. So I started figuring out how do I raise a capital to bounce back. So that's when I started raising capital. And I lost all my staff, because I had a team. I lost all of it. But during that, the case it took 2 years, and that appeal was more 200,000 to the lawyer to finish the case. I lost the 2 lawyers in the midst of it because it was a tough case. But the whole point is like if I did not discover about OPM, I don't know where I would be by now. So that's why I'm passionate to show people that there is other ways. The bank could give me the money because I had nothing on me. So that's why this is I need to share rather than keeping this to myself. I think the first things of OPM It's to understand that debt is not your enemy.
Right.
Okay? Debt is a tool, not your enemy. So once you switch that mindset, because a lot of people, especially older generation and our generation, we were taught, oh, debt, but all the rich people get rich by using debt. You just have to be strategically and also loyal in how you use debt. So the once you first step is to switch that debt is not my enemy, debt is a tool to get me to help me build wealth. So as soon as you decide that you have shifted that mind, the secondly is to know what is a good debt and a bad debt. So the good debt, it's 0% interest for 1 year. There's a lot of credit cards you can use with that, and then is buying businesses on the seller's finance. You don't have, so you pay monthly. It is buying a property of using other people's money. But of course, you also have to have the discipline to be loyal. That's when I say the lawyer is also part of the plan on the OPM to make sure you pay back on time. Do not take money, go buy expensive car or go buy, live a high life. Then it's gonna come bite you. That's when a lot of people also say, oh, debt, because they don't use it. So bad debt is if you're doing a lot of credit cards, because a lot of credit cards are like a high interest rate, the high interest credit card. Not all of them, but there is a good credit cards that you can use for 1 year window and make sure you use it and then switch it after. So when it comes to credit card, it's a game. It's a game. You have to make sure even if you use interest rate credit card, you have to make sure you play with the game, because it's a game, it's a money game. That's the rich people game. So you have to make sure you pay every time when is a statement debt, you pay as below to 30% of so you pay 30% of the credit card. So below 30%. So you probably pay like at least 8% and then 75 on the statement date, not the due date. Because due date does not count.
Yeah.
So the lender will look at the statement date. So the statement that if you pay that on time, it goes back to hype your credit card, your credit score. So you still have a good credit because you need credit. Yes, a lot of people, yes, you can use other people's money, but when you start, credit also helps because it shows that like you actually doing you're not just taking people's money and go do what you want to do. So that's a way you can play the strategy of playing with credit cards. But of course, don't take the credit card and go buy a car. No, that's a bad date. And asset debt, so car is what everybody I think now knows is one of the worst debt. So, but if you buy the property, you need to make sure there is equity in the house. That's a good debt. If a property is 200 and the equity in the house, it's maybe the property was sold the next buy, it was sold at 300, no, let's say 400, that's a really good equity. Even if it's a debt, that's a good debt because you have equity. Some people, if they don't know equity means when you buy house, the value increase. So if the value increase, you bought it 200 in 1 year, or the house was sold next door. That's very important to know. The house was sold next door, it was at 300 or 350 or 400. That's a deal. But if the house was sold next to it is 250, it's not a deal unless you want to hold that property for 10 years. But if it's 200, 250 or 180 or lower, that means it's going to take you a while to leverage the equity, because you can also leverage equity in the property. You can go to the bank or to any of your lender, use that equity to buy business because the house has the value. So that's a good date. But if you buy a property that are in the neighborhood, they are all the same, they are all 200, I don't think it's a good date, because then it means you don't have equity in the house and it's going to take you a while to build equity. So those are the kind of like good bad debts. But the one that is very common is high interest credit cards and the cars, buying the cars or buying the shoes, expense, so those type of debt. But it's just a matter, it's a money, it's a game. You just have to know the rules and play the rules.
Yeah, there even is some people who just get date and they just go on a vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So that's, yes, you get a loan and oh my God, 100,000. You go to vacation, it's gonna come back, bite you if you're not careful. So another thing that I want to add it to it is that to make sure to know to use the good debt to create assets, not to just pay the bills. So leverage the opportunities. So if you get a 10,000, 20,000 of credit card, 0%. There is American Express. There is a lot of Capital Ones, business credit. That's another thing. So you have to build the business credit. That it helps because the business credit does not show on your personal credit. So if you want to leverage the good debt, it's better to leverage using business credit. And then business credit, once you build up the business credit, some people you can easily get a 500,000 in the business credit. And yes, it sounds like a credit card, but it is money you can is also take out, but use the cash to either buy some small businesses, you're going to flip, or go buy, you can use to fix a house, to then sell the house, because that's a good money, to start. Don't use it to go on holiday. Do not use it to go buy expensive clothes, expensive cars. So that's one of the tools I can use the good debt to leverage opportunities. I think one of the big mistake people do. Yes, it's good to have your passion. It's good to, that's one of the things I'm also passionate on OPM. It's good to have your passion. You can start up a business. You start it, you grow it. But it's not easy to do a startup. So if you have a good debt, it's a good amount. Let's say you get a good 100,000, 50,000, 10,000. It depends on what country you're in, because OPM is global. You can use it. I advise it's better to go look existing businesses. You buy it. Existing businesses, there is plenty. Once you start looking, you'll be surprised. There's a plenty. Or you can either use it as a seller finance, ask the seller to pay them monthly. It's just a matter of negotiation. Or you use the capital you have to use the good debt, not the crazy credit card. If you have a good credit card or you're getting a loan from somewhere, it can be from a private lender, it can be from the bank. Use it, buy it to buy existing businesses. And because that you can also look how long they've been running, how much cash flow they are making. Is it the business really viable? If it's not viable, then even if it's your passion, then it's not the right time. But if you buy existing business, even if you don't like it, but that business is bringing you money, you started flying, you started living how like you're gonna laugh at that business. I always tell people you're flying a business class, you're gonna be protecting that business. Then once you made a good money, then you can use that money because then you have money to go test all your dreams to see if they get your passion, the dreams to come true.
Yeah. People say passion doesn't pay bills, so
Yeah.
we better look for something that pays
Something.
bills.
Yeah. I think what is important to add is that the high interest debt or those debts that you go use for things that are not really bringing you cash or flow, you have to be strategical. Any debt, it can be very, very useful. Even if it's a high interest, if your high interest is 70%, but you're going to flip, make it double, pay. But a lot of people don't have the willpower to manage that. So you have to know yourself and then have the mentor. If you're not ready, then take time. But the high interest credit card or the crazy debt, if a bad debt, if you use it as a survival mode, it will keep you stuck for the rest of your life. So it's important to be strategically. We all human, we all end up in those situations. but be strategically about it. Even if it's a high debt, try to figure out how would I lower this to start moving to the lower, to the good debt. So just have a plan. Plan. That's, I think, plan is the most important things. If you plan, in the times may take 1 year, 2 years, but you can overcome. So debt and equity. I think a lot of people get so caught up into it, but the debt pretty much means interest.
Yes.
Yeah, so you pay an interest, or whoever lending you, bank, other people's money, or PML. By the way, PML means private money lending. Um, I think you have to understand that at the investor, which is usually is equity. I think that's his way to explain. Equity, you get return on investment. Debt, you get interest, month free. And they get interest, and you get interest, or whoever lend you gets interest, or you pay interest if you the lender. But the return on investments, it's more you wait for share.
Okay.
Or you have, because there's what we call equity debt. You have return on investments. You agree, hey, I have equity share in a house, I have a 50-60, 40-60, sorry, or 20-80, but you get return on investment. You don't get it the free
Okay.
income. If I'm talking to the side of the lender, to the side of the side of the lender, yes, the side of the borrower, or the one who is getting an investor, you pay interest free. Okay. Debt memory, it provide a steady kind of reliable income. So if you're getting a debt from the bank, 20,000, you pay, but you use the money to go create something, become, or and also to the lender side. The lender side have monthly interest they receive. So that kind of both sides. So this is we're talking OPM mainly, which again I want people to understand that banks are also OPM because they use your money
Yes.
to go lend to someone else. So if think about it, it's an OPM. If a bank do not have your money, bank would exist. So they pretty much use your money and then go lend it to another business. So that's why people need to wake up and open. There's nothing wrong with the bank. In fact, I work along the bank, but you have it to look also your options. Doesn't have to say every things you do. It has to go through the bank. If you get a better deal to the other lenders, please. What is important is that you make it. That's what is important. Okay. So I think the when it comes to the equity, so equity is more like a large share of the wealth you are creating. So if you're getting an equity from from a business, or equity from a property or a venture, there's a lot of things out there that you get. Again, how I explained, it's a return on investment. Is like some share or some of something you're creating it. Yeah, anybody can be an investor, and also anybody can be a private lender. Everybody thinks you have to have a crazy money, or you have to be sophisticated somehow. So that's something that that's a way also, not on the the borrower side, on the lender side, is a way to grow the capital. Can grow the capital. So there is a way you can invest in a deal, real estate deal, or in a business, and you get interest only mastery. So let's say you put 10K, 10,000 to a deal. Sometimes that's when they say there is a pool of investors. You put the good things of doing that on an asset. The asset is there. Yes, there is a challenge. You have to do your due diligence. If you put on a property or a house or anything, you have to make sure that house numbers make sense or is valuable. The house it has the value, because sometimes it does not have the value until the bank take over the house, or the big lender, because there's always, there is a big lender on it, and you don't make you need to make your money back. If it's 10,000, but if you put 100,000 and the house is worth 100,000, you may not make your money back. But if you put 10,000, there is a lot of people out there willing, because they don't have the money to be fixing the house, so they are willing to take that 10,000 and then or 50,000. So don't call me. I'm just saying a number. Use that money and give you every month interest only. And so you have at least the security of the house. And then I noticed that a lot of this is how also other people's money grow their money. So if you put, to example, put 10,000 and 20,000, you're getting 15% return or 12% return or 7. It depends of individual. You have to negotiate on the deal. And you have a security of the house. You making that return, it's way more than your money sitting in a bank account. And then at the end of the deal, if the house is fixed to get refurbished, that's how you get full of your money back. So you still get you 10,000, but you've been making money every month. Every month. That's what we call mailbox money. So it's the money you pretty much receive in the mailbox and you don't have to hustle about it. So that goes back to the other people's money. So there is a plenty of people out there have the capital, have the money, but they don't want to do the work. So they are willing to give the money. Of course, you have to be honest and loyal and integrity. That's the big part of it, this industry. If you in for to just a quick take money, it's gonna come back bite you, because those are the people that have money. So they will go after you if you don't pay them. So you have to you have to know that, but leverage that. Take that money. And that's how also they make money, because I think this explains more about OPM, because they don't want to do the work. They give to individual who want to do the work, and you pay them free. But you can also do it for yourself. If you have a 10,000, you don't have much money, but you want to grow your money rather than putting in a bank, sit there and the bank lending to somebody else. You can invest in a deal and they get a little bit of the free interest only. But do you do diligence? Make sure you need to know who is you borrowing to. You don't have it to be friends. They just have to have a track record.
Yeah.
That's it. But you can easily get a 500 sitting home dollar rather than putting in the bank. Yeah, so that's how also build capital to grow their money. If you have a $500 every month, it's 5,000 that you could use that money to go do something. So it's important to understand that a debt and equity, they are both powerful. It's just how you approach it. So the last things I want is somebody to just focus. Oh, debt is just I want interest only, or investments. I want a return. It's a larger share. Return on investment is important to understand that both can make you powerful, and it can actually serve a purpose, because it's money. It's both money. It depends on how you move with it, and they can make you both rich. To those who want to get involved into lending or into investing, using both credit and debt, it's a better personally, is a better option, because you diversify, so you can use both for debt and the credit to make sure that you diversify, so you don't put all your eggs in one basket.
But most people feel stupid when they hear terms like, private fund, leverage, private money. To the everyday person who is maybe a waitress in some restaurant who want to use OPM to, have financial freedom. Like, how do they go about this?
So I think it's our mindset. First, you have to see yourself as a front runner or an underdog. That's the most important things I want to give it to you. Because all those private funds, there's nothing special. Yes, you have to be disciplined, but there's nothing special. They're using other people's money. So a fund, it means individuals who go, either one person, two people, they go raise money, family, friends, they raise money, and then they put all that money and they use that money to invest in anything else. But because it sounds so fancy, we all do that because a lot of financial people, we make it complicated for you to understand because that's how you pay us. So that's why I'm bringing the knowledge to the people. So it's just a matter of raising the capital from family and friends, and then put it together in a pool, and then go use that money to invest and give return. Return means the money you make, you give some of the share back to the ones who gave you the money. So
Yeah, but for some people, they think like, okay, some don't even have the best relationship with their families. So they think, okay, who am I going to ask for money? Like, is there a website where you go and you find found investors? Where does someone with no connection go by and to find someone who can give them 10,000 to go and buy a random mat or a hedge fund company or whatever?
So you would be surprised how many people have the money laying around, but don't know what to do with it. They just trying to figure it out. So that's why it goes back to have a character of integrity. So if you sit down, this is how I start raising money. If you sit down, take a pen and paper. It doesn't have to be family and friends. And think, who do I know that will listen to me? Who do I know that are seeing me highly? And who do I know that has money to put aside? And then you create a project, and then you take them out for a coffee, and they say, hey, this is what I have. This is what I'm willing to give you back. And then, of course, don't start it crazy. Don't start asking you crazy money. Start asking no more money. Don't start asking millions, but do it as a test. Yeah. That this is the deals that I'm doing. Can you support me back? Or you get a good return? Also, be genuine, especially when you start. Because a lot of people, they're trying to be greedy. Oh, I'm the one doing the work. At the end of the day, you can't do the work if you don't have the money. So go to some, just if you sit down the right, those 10 individuals, talk to those 10 individuals. Say, hey, can I have a 10,000, 5,000? This is what I'm planning to start. But be legit. And then also start building a track record. By the time you know, people will start throwing their money on you because they're seeing that you're actually hustling to make them rich.
Yeah.
And then rather than especially like older people, they don't have to be a friend again. I need to emphasize that. Or they don't have to be a family member. They have. I think that's also goes back to the financial scarcity mentality. We are trained to not ask for money.
Yes.
And that you have to break that fear. But once you do, if you do one, the rest comes easily. But the most important, build the record because it's important. Pay people back. And then give them a first time, even if you give them a 50% return, but you're building record and then you're building stats.
Closing this, for the person who doesn't know anything about, business, or they feel judged, they think their family will judge them if they start anything new, because if many people, they prefer do things privately in hiding. What does rebuild capital hub offer people in terms of being able to achieve the OPM strategy?
So I think the first things trust me, I was the same. This is my first time actually coming out. I was the same. That I'm still struggling with that, but I learned that I'm learning and learning that we cannot give back if we don't go out and share. Now also people will never know your knowledge until you go public. So I would advise them to get the fear out, and then especially out of the skin. Especially once you start making money, the first time is the hard part. So I used to be the same, and I think I am still struggling as well. But I create rebuilds because of that. I create a community because I was also behind the scene. I'm usually type of behind the scene person. And then I decided, what can we do to create a safe community but it's not extra, my God, expensive, and also people feel safe to share in their community and also build each other. This is why it's called Rebuild Life Capital. And they help each other to build. I was the same, so I know the feelings. Even now, sharing my story, it feels a little bit out of my comfort zone. But we have it to start. If we're going to make a bigger impact on a bigger scale, we need to be to try to go out and share and then also give back. So this is my way of giving back. So the person can join the community and feel safe. And also one of my biggest calling, I have been every time I avoid going public, but something pushed me. Something pushed me. And I felt like there is a calling behind it. It goes back to me even in my case. Okay, I moved to the US to make it be quiet, enjoy my money. And
Yes.
that's not was the case. So that's why I realized there is a mission behind it. So that's why the rebuild is for everybody. Everybody who is looking to rebuild or to build. And then in a safe community. And also we want to create something that we hold each other accountable and hold each other's hand. Because there's so many gurus out there. So, and then I get a lot of, because I mentor in other groups, I get a lot of people come to me crying of money. They lost money. So I'm trying to create something that, what can we do? We actually give people real needs. Yes, people need the knowledge, but we need to show them how they can actually leverage money and also build wealth, not just knowledge. So really needs, people need money. They don't need no, I think there's too much knowledge out there, but people also need to figure out how do we make money to overcome the poverty struggle.
Yes. Yeah. Now, for I want to thank you first of all for being here, but also we do have a segment where the guest leaves a question for the last guest, and one of the questions we have from our community from our last guest is, if someone would try to do what you do you think they have the capacity to do it? Because many people feel like they are in a space where they don't have anything to share. They don't have any skill set. They don't have any value to offer to the world. And sometimes they feel like, okay, I have to be a survivor in what I do, just depend on other instead of creating my own way of living. So the question they left is, do you think everybody can be a business owner, an investor, or do anything that requires them to be the owner? Or do you think it's just set for some segment of people?
No, everybody, yes, everybody can. It's not just for some people.
Yes.
It's a mindset. And trust me, I have been there. It's a mindset. And then also is the underdog mindset. The rebuild is about helping people to break from the underdog to be the front runner. If you see yourself as a front runner, the swagger is different. If yourself as the front runner, you knock doors you never thought you can knock to. So the first things we want to get is to change the mindset. The second things, yes, you may not have the skills. Everybody has the skills. They just think they don't have the skills. But once you start making money and helping your family, you will realize that you have the skills. So it's about sitting down, have a meeting with yourself. Yes, you say, what am I good at? What are the people like and call me often ask about? That's where your knowledge, your skills, and your gift. It's important to identify your skills and your gift. My gift, I never knew was about money or teaching people or helping people money or building wealth. I was more passionate about. I used to think I'm gonna be a pilot.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things I was passionate, but after that, I was like, when I'm helping people with money, it comes natural. So you have to find something that comes natural and start building towards that. Yes. Sit down, have a meeting with yourself, have a pen of paper, and also because the whole point is for you to build wealth without being broke. Sit down, write numbers, think of people that can help you achieve that goal. Join the different communities. A lot of people are not aware. Start your own community of ways. You can start a community of knitting. You can start a community of shouting. You know what I mean? And those people will join. And then eventually, if you're good at shouting, the people will pay you to help them shout. Yes, of course, that's a job, but I'm just trying to say that anything is possible when you put your mind into it. But start just sitting down because the whole point, as I mentioned, is to build wealth without being broke. Sit down, have a number of people. Trust me, if you think you lock yourself in a room and think, you realize that there's 10 people in your network that can help you grow your wealth using their money. And then, but you know they have to trust. You have to start with those individuals. And then after once you have the track record, move to the strangers. Yeah, that's pretty much what I think I would advise to anybody because we all have gifts. God given a gift. We just have to step into the calling and then get out there and give back.
Thank you, Drocelle. Thank you for being here, and also thank you for giving us such advices for business people. I'm a business owner, but some people they are not. But most of our audience here, they want to be free. They want to be financial free. And thank you for being here, and thank you for giving us such advice.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and that I hope that helps, and that I really hope we all become front runner, and we all step into our God given calling. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll see you in the next section.